Welcome to Meaningfulness, Engineering Purpose in a Complex World podcast series. I'm Djeff B., Principal Architect at Meaningfulness Media Group, where we build rigorous frameworks to uncover objective meaning through authentic connection, ethical systems thinking, and responsible stewardship in an age of AI and informational chaos. If you're seeking evidence-based insights on philosophy, psychology, and human flourishing, you're in the right place. Let's begin.
Hey there, and welcome. So today we are tackling a really big question. How do we navigate the beautiful and, let's be honest, chaotic world we live in? It feels like we're constantly caught in this whirlwind of distractions and demands. But what if I told you there's a toolkit? Just two simple but incredibly profound practices that can help you find real clarity and purpose in all of it. Let's dive in. I love this quote from an Eisner because it just perfectly sets the stage. It gets right to the core of what we're talking about, doesn't it? Our own personal lens, our internal world, it colors absolutely everything we experience. Our perceptions aren't this crystal clear window to reality. Nope, they're more like a mirror reflecting ourselves. And that's the very challenge we're here to unpack. And this is the million-dollar question, right? If our own biases, our emotions, our past experiences are constantly shaping our reality, how can we ever really see things clearly, or make good decisions, or truly connect with people? Well, stick with me, because that's exactly what we're going to figure out. Okay, so before we can find a solution, we've got to really get a handle on the problem itself. Let's start by looking at what I like to call the modern mind's dilemma. For so many of us, the problem is rooted in this constant pressure cooker of modern life. You know the one, with its endless distractions and demands. Does any of this feel familiar? I'm guessing it does. It's like we're living in a world that's basically designed to pull our attention in a million different directions at once. You've got the constant pings from your phone, the 24/7 news cycle. It's like we're all dealing with this epidemic of mental clutter. And with all that noise, finding that quiet space inside, that inner peace, it can feel like an impossible task. All right, so we've laid out the problem. Let's talk about our first tool for finding a solution, mindfulness. Now, this is a concept a lot of you have probably heard of, and for good reason. Just think of it as a way of hitting the pause button on all that chaos, both external and internal, that we were just talking about. At its core, mindfulness is really just about paying attention to right here, right now. And a lot of people think it's about emptying your mind, but that's a total myth. Instead, it's about noticing what's already there. Your thoughts, the feeling of your chest rising and falling, the sounds around you, and just observing it all with this gentle, non-judgmental curiosity. It's the simple act of grounding yourself in the present moment. Okay, now for our second tool. And this one, well, you might not have heard of it before, but it is the perfect partner to mindfulness. It's called bracketing. And it's this incredibly powerful technique for seeing the world with fresh eyes, for managing how we perceive everything outside of ourselves. So if mindfulness is all about looking inward, bracketing is about looking outward with a cleaner lens. I love this idea. Think about it. We all walk around carrying this invisible suitcase filled with our personal biases, our past hurts, our assumptions. Bracketing is the conscious choice to just put that suitcase down for a minute so we can see a situation or another person for who they really are, without all of our filters getting in the way. This slide lays it out so perfectly. You see, mindfulness is all about looking inward, becoming aware of your internal landscape. Your thoughts, your feelings. Its goal is awareness. Bracketing, on the other hand, is about looking outward. It takes that awareness and asks you to gently set aside those very biases you just noticed. Its goal is objectivity. They're really just two sides of the same very powerful coin. And that leads us perfectly into our next section, the power of two. Because this is where the real magic happens. When you combine these two practices, their power doesn't just add up. It multiplies. It's a truly amazing partnership. So you might be thinking, okay, one's for when I'm meditating and the other's for when I'm in a debate, right? But their connection is so much deeper than that. They actually depend on each other, working together to create this incredible cycle of growth. Let's break down how they build on one another. Let's use a little metaphor here, because I think it'll make it super clear. Imagine your mind as a garden. Mindfulness is the practice of cultivating that rich, fertile soil. It's the act of paying close attention, creating the perfect environment for self-awareness to really take root and grow. So, As you're practicing mindfulness, as you're tending to this inner garden, you start to notice things you might have totally missed before. You get really good at spotting the weeds. Those automatic judgments, those deep-seated biases that can choke out new ideas. You finally start to see them for what they are. And right here, this is the next step. Once mindfulness has helped you see the weed, bracketing is what you do about it. It's the conscious, gentle act of setting that bias aside, of actually pulling the weed to make space for new ideas, deeper understanding, and for real clarity to blossom. Or hey, if the garden metaphor isn't for you, think of it like an artful dance. Mindfulness leads the way with a rhythm of self-awareness, noticing your inner world. And then bracketing follows with the graceful step of non-judgment, applying that awareness to the world around you. Together, they create this beautiful, flowing way to move through life. So this all sounds pretty great in theory, right? But let's be real. The power is in the doing. So in this final section, it's your turn. We're going to walk through 2 really simple exercises you can literally start using today. First up, a basic mindfulness practice. And this doesn't have to be some big, complicated thing. Just find a quiet spot for a few minutes. Sit down, get comfortable. Now just bring your focus to your breath. And listen, your mind is going to wander. That's what minds do. It's totally normal. The goal isn't to stop your thoughts, but to just gently notice when they've drifted, and without any judgment, just guide your attention right back to your breath. That's it. That's the whole practice. Okay, next up, let's take bracketing out into the real world. The very next time you're in a conversation, maybe even a tricky one, just try this. Pause, just for a second before you react. In that tiny pause, ask yourself, what assumptions am I bringing into this? Then make a conscious effort to set them aside and just listen, not to plan your comeback, but to actually understand where the other person is coming from. This one little shift, it can change everything. So here's the most important thing to remember. Mindfulness and bracketing, they are so much more than just little tricks to manage stress. They are truly invaluable tools for personal growth. When we start to practice them, we open the door to a more balanced, a more self-aware, and a much more meaningful life. And that brings us right back to where we started. If we really do see things not as they are, but as we are, then the most powerful change we can ever make is to change how we see. So I'm going to leave you with this one question. What new perspectives, what deeper connections, what amazing truths might you discover if you just chose to see things a little bit differently?
That's all for this episode. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. If these ideas resonate, continue your journey toward objective meaning and authentic connection at meaningfulness.com.au, where you'll find materials and resources to engineer purpose in your life. Until next time, let's build something meaningful.